Everyone knows Hangman. It's a staple of the ESL classroom. But it's rubbish, and you can do better. I'm Will from Enchanted ESL, and in this video I'll explain why Hangman sucks and give you an alternative that actually does what Hangman claims to do. So why, you ask, am I ragging on this timeless classic that we all played as kids? It's easy to set up, students seem to like it, and it practices English, right? Well, I'd counter that just because students like it doesn't mean it's any good, and while it does practice English, it doesn't do it very well. The first problem is that it's pretty boring. Unless you're the one that knows the secret word, all you do is occasionally say a random letter until maybe you figure out what the word is. But in a big class, most students are doing absolutely nothing. Either you play the system of hands up to guess, in which case only the enthusiastic and loud students really take part, or you take it in turns, in which case everybody else goes to sleep when it's not their turn. Okay, but you could divide the class up and play it in small groups, right? Then people are more active. Sure, but in the end they're still not actually doing that much. They just pick a few random letters. Hardly taxing. The only tension comes from the drawing getting more and more complete. The actual strategy of the game is non-existent. Which leads me to the second point. It doesn't do that much to practice English. Yes, students have to say the letters out loud and then try to figure out the word pattern. But half the time it's just a random guess, and it's quite easy just to say the ones that you already know rather than challenging yourself with more difficult letters. And again, with a large class, most students are just staring into space, not activating their minds. And the third issue I have with Hangman is the imagery. For most classes and groups, the cartoon image of someone hanging from a noose is probably okay, but in some rare cases it can be really upsetting. If a student has experience of a traumatic event of this kind, it can cause them some severe emotional stress, and you don't want to do that. The simple solution is to just choose a different image. Be creative with it. I like the idea of a cat chasing a mouse, and then the cat gets further away when you guess the letter correctly and closer when you guess it wrong. But changing the imagery doesn't fix the fact that it's still quite boring and lacks educational merit. Fortunately, I've got a great alternative. I came up with this game a while ago and it's gone down a treat in all of my classes. It does exactly what Hangman should do. I'm calling it Word Showdown. Word Showdown is best played with a group of 3 to 6 students. However, it's perfectly fine to play with an individual or a pair, and with a large class you can split them up into 3 to 6 teams. For this example, I'll be using a group of 4 individuals, but if you do have a large class, imagine each student represents a small team. We have Sarah, Yusuf, Anna, and Mario. All 4 students come up with a secret word and draw a short horizontal line for each letter in the word, just like in Hangman. You can decide if you want to allow multi-word phrases, but I generally avoid this as it makes the game drag. Single words are best. The aim of the game is to guess everybody else's word before they guess yours. We're going to see what Sarah's word is to help understand the game. She chooses painting. Students take it in turns to guess a letter. Sarah goes first and she says E. Now, everyone who has an E in their word must write all instances of E in the correct spaces. So we can see Anna has 2 E's and Mario has 1. If Sarah had an E in her word, she would also have to write it. Yusuf goes next. He says A, knowing that it's a common letter and he doesn't have it in his own word. Sarah writes her A and so does Anna. Anna says S and Yusuf adds an S. Mario says I, thinking it's a common letter. But Mario forgot that he has an I in his own word. Now he must write the letter in its place. Sarah also writes hers. This goes on until players start to figure out what the other people's words are. Important rule, players cannot guess full words. They must only guess letters. If they think they know someone's word, they must say the letters until it's complete. This can get strategically difficult, especially if they have the same letter in their word. When a player's word is fully revealed, they still stay in the turn order guessing letters. And the player whose word is revealed last is the winner. It's possible for players to tie the game if they have similar letters. In this case, it's Sarah who wins. Hopefully you can see the benefits of Word Showdown compared to Hangman. If you're thinking of using Word Showdown in your class, hit the like button to let me know. It also helps the channel grow. Much appreciated. Firstly, in Word Showdown, the boredom problem is solved. Students are actively thinking all the time. They have to constantly listen to the letters that the other players say because those letters might be in their own word. And they're constantly trying to figure out what the other words might be. And when there are several words, that's quite a lot of thinking. Plus, that thinking is about the patterns of letters in English. And the more words they're looking at, the more practice they're getting. And the key to winning is coming up with a word with unusual letters so the other students don't guess them. One student I had came up with oxygen, which was a fantastic word, and of course it won, because nobody thought to guess X, Y, and G. Oh, and guess what? There was no risk of upsetting anyone. All in all, Word Showdown is an enjoyable and effective way to practice letters. But But it's not the only way to do it. In fact, I made a video of 7 games for spelling and letters, and it's going to appear right here, so go check it out. But for now, I've been Will from Enchanted ESL, wishing you all the joy and success in your teaching. See ya!